Hey kids, I'm Cokie the Bear, and this is my house. Do you like doing cocaine outside in the forest or on the water? I do too. But it's important to be responsible with your drugs, because if you don't, I will fuck up your shit. I will you and your family for another taste of that sweet, sweet booger sugar. So keep all your drugs securely stowed away in a lockable cooler or hung from a tree. Remember, only you can prevent cocaine bears.
Is this a metal thing?
Yes.
Little taste.
David. David, what is this?
It's pretty thick.
Great.
I have to kill a lot of people. Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
I have big tits and a tiny vagina.
Oil me up, Daddy.
I can't believe that Bryce prefers big tits.
Mistletoe alert.
This is backcountry.
This guy was a real jerk.
How long can Hugo be pregnant? Chomp, 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 chomp.
Oh, you're such a dick, David.
Okay, everybody, put on your corpse handling gloves.
Ew.
Hoodie Picasso.
Horror!
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. I'm Bryce Hanson, and across from me is David Day. Your name is David Day. We're both experts in horror. Like, you can trust us, because that's what we say. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. Got a great show for you today. Just coming off of my St. Patrick's Day hangover.
Oh, really? Did you imbibe?
I did.
Oh.
And I'm gonna say it. It helped with the movie a little bit, I think. Apropos, we're reviewing Cocaine Bear. You know, because cocaine
Those Irish.
associated with Pat.
That's crazy. Fucking. I'm sure they do cocaine too, you know? Alcohol
Sure.
just leads to more bad decisions.
So, before we get into it, want to plug our website. Go to horrormovietalk.com. You'll find links to all the things. We want to thank our new patrons, which I should have had pulled up.
Oh, you know what? I have them right here. Thanks for reminding me.
Look at you.
We got Brandon M. We got Corey S. We got Victor G. Renee K. and Ayla. Thank you all for joining up and supporting the show. We really appreciate you a lot.
Yes, thank you so much. And if you join them, you'll get access to patron exclusive content if you really like us. If you are just interested in joining us, we post every new episode every Wednesday. And if you have any comments or criticisms, call us at 682-253-4468, and we might play your voicemail on a future episode of Horror Movie Talk. Every episode we start out by giving a brief review and our score for the film. We score on an average of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry, 5 being an average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, and we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. So if you haven't seen Cocaine Bear yet and you don't want to have anything spoiled, lots of secrets to be spoiled in this movie, you can bounce after we alert you to the spoiler section. Later on, we will be playing our perennial favorite taglines.
This is a good one. This is a good one for taglines, I got to tell you.
It is, yeah.
It's a pretty good one.
So there you go. That's what you can expect. We prepared you mentally and physically. Well, it's up to you to prepare yourself physically for this episode.
Well, I'll prepare them physically, you know?
So let's hop in. We watched Cocaine Bear, and it had a cocaine bear in it. It can be found in theaters and online right now. Cocaine Bear is loosely based on a true story of a bear that finds and consumes a brick of cocaine airdropped by a cocaine smuggler in 1985. In the movie, instead of dying immediately, it goes on. It does what everyone imagines in their head when they hear the words cocaine bear. It goes on an unhinged, coked up rampage across a state park.
Did it die immediately in real life?
Yeah, I mean, the cocaine bear did nothing. It just died immediately.
It's like, oh.
And you know what? I'm pretty sure if a person does an entire brick of cocaine, they will also die.
It's a limitation of living beings, you know? A certain amount of cocaine just stops your heart.
Right. Along the way, Cocaine Bears, or as his friends call him, Pablo Escobar, crosses paths with drug dealers, thugs, rangers, children, and a mom. These people fare about as well as you would expect against Cocaine Bear. The movie is structured basically as a slasher in that the characters are mostly there as fodder, and they are all trying to escape an unhinged, all-powerful killer. However, even for a slasher, these characters have super thin development. Like, if you were to scrape the character development onto a piece of toast, like it'd be barely perceivable.
Barely.
None of them would have what I would call an arc, not even Cocaine Bear. The cast is serviceable with Kerry Russell, Margot Martindale, and Ray Liotta, rest in pieces, and a bunch of newcomers. They just aren't given much to work with. Really, the most valuable and enjoyable thing about this movie that this movie gives you is the title. It's going to be talked about in knowing tones by the same people that mention Sharknado all the time without having actually seen it. That's me, basically.
Sharknado.
To its credit, it doesn't shy away from the gore, and it earns its R rating, but it doesn't go particularly crazy with it. It's still pretty, general audience's movie, for as much as you can say that with an R rating. Like a signifier of that is Aaron wanted to watch it with me. So that always shows you the level of general audience-ness. To me, overall, it's okay. There are enjoyable moments, and the concept is novel early on, but it loses its edge very quickly and becomes just a waiting game for a pretty obvious ending. It's a B movie with a $35 million budget. I didn't expect much, and it perfectly met my expectations. I give it a 4 out of 10.
Wow, so you enjoyed this 1 point less than Scream 6. Which we reviewed last week. Wow. That's too bad. I really thought this thing was very entertaining to me overall. I really expected Sharknado. You know? And I don't know what Sharknado is, but I've caught little bits of it, and
I've never seen it.
It is real. Like, I've caught bits and pieces of it, and it is slapdash. It's like the word art version of a movie. Cocaine Bear was actually, I thought the character arcs were appropriate and fun. I liked all the characters in it and their reactions to, an insane thing that was happening. And the insane thing that was happening wasn't so over the top unbelievable that I would name it in the same sentence as Sharknado. It was pretty. There was some good survival tips in there that I would echo. And overall, I had a really good time with this thing. It held my attention the whole way through, and it was kind of delightful action little rompy thing with really truly dreadful gore. That was to me, it was just because I think I don't know. I think the concept of a real bear attacking you is about the scariest thing I can think of. And so, yeah, I liked it a lot. I think this is about an 8 for me. Yeah. Big difference. I don't know, but I think you might be on mute.
No, that's me. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's a pretty big difference. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I expected. I mean, like I said, I didn't have high expectations, and it's like, yep, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. You didn't think the dialogue was funny or like the
There
moments?
was some dialogue that was good. There was some dialogue that I found funny, and like little moments. That,
the moments
like,
were just stacked on top of each other were very funny. Like,
I mean, what I appreciated some of the stuff that was like more subtle, that was just a funny situation where it's like those things that you throw into a sketch that's just like,
right.
what? Like what?
Yeah.
That's just something's kind of off about that. Or some lines that are just on the face funny, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't I think it's fun. Like, I'm not going to say people shouldn't see it, but I don't think people should have high expectations about it.
No, you should definitely go into it the way you definitely will if you're a person, which is knowing that this is a movie called Cocaine Bear.
Right.
That will temper your expectations exactly. I also did like a little bit of the ambiance going on. It felt a little bit could have done with a little bit more Turbo Kid in there, just a little bit more. It was a slightly exaggerated 80s ambiance. I gotta say, Carrie Russell, wow. It's like she hasn't aged a fucking day. I was like, wait, is this that bitch from the Disney Channel when I was a kid? And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she looks exactly the same. She's 46, and she looks like she's 29. I'm like, wow, way to go, Carrie Russell. Way to live a healthy life, and just beautiful. I love her.
Yeah, speaking of love, if you're listening to these commercials or any commercials, you can skip them by showing us love on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/horrormovietalk, and we got all different levels of patronage. Just a sampling of what you get. We record a afterpod after every episode. We just leave the mics rolling and talk about various and sundry things happening in our lives, which a lot of people like. At a certain level, we have patron-exclusive episodes called Pretentious Reviews, where we cover a lot of movies that we just don't really fit with the horror movie talk brand. Either they're too old or too obscure that we don't think people would get wouldn't get a lot of attention. But like, for example, after this episode, we're going to record an episode on Peeping Tom from 1960, which is kind of a British counterpart to Psycho. And people really like those and other things. So go check out our Patreon. You can also go to our shop at horrormovietalk.com/shop. And you can order T-shirts or stickers, which I'll mail out very, very late because I never remember to do that. And you can also go on Instagram and follow Dustin Goebel, our resident artist. He's at dgoebel00, at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram. And we love him, so please send him some love. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, again, that number is 682-253-4468. Thanks again for listening. Let's get on with the show. There we go. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. All right. So, yeah, I mean, there was some enjoyable stuff in this movie. Like, I'm not going to say I didn't like it. It's just, in terms of a movie, it doesn't quite meet my expectations either in terms of, like, the structure and filmmaking aspects of it. And really, honestly, it comes down to how thin and uninteresting the characters were. Like, can you name a character that ends in a different place than they began in this movie? Like, that's what I view as a character arc, is like they are a certain type of character. They have a, like a personal dilemma or something holding them back. And in the end, they conquer something and are changed. That's kind of like the hero's journey type character arc, just in general terms. And I feel like every character just ends exactly where they started. Like, it's just basically, characters that are archetypes are like they are what their job is or what their situation in this moment is. It doesn't necessarily give you any insight into their character, carry you through a journey for each of them.
I guess, I mean, if you're holding it against that, if that's your filter, is a hero's journey. If you're applying a hero's journey to this movie, it doesn't. No, those things don't happen. But I mean, to a limited extent, this movie is, based on a true story, or at least supposed to be about a true event that could have happened, right? So it's not terrifically applicable, in my opinion, in Cocaine Bear, because it's just a recounting of a fucking wacky thing that happened, So it's like, it's a thing that just happened to people, theoretically. Obviously, none of this actually happened to people, but that's the setup for the story. So it's not like...
I mean, to me, like, the most important part of storytelling is the people aspect of it, because that's like... And I don't know, I look at it and I'm like, okay, they give the characters attributes or like situations. You look at Margot Martindale's character, she's the ranger, and she's thirsty, she wants to get fucked, and then she just dies. I mean, it's a common like problem with slashers for me, which is like, yeah, it's not really about that, and maybe I shouldn't be measuring it against that, but it's like about halfway I'm just not interested in the characters at all, because it's just like, okay, well, they're gonna die or they're not, and the ones that aren't gonna die are the obvious ones that aren't gonna die. It's like, okay, the mom and kids are not gonna die, the drug dealers or thugs that you care most about aren't gonna die, everyone else is gonna die. All the unlikable characters are gonna die. And like, I think it's in terms of just missed opportunities, I think it would just make it a more interesting movie to have that added layer of like characters learning something about each other, or overcoming some kind of obstacle to help them in their journey of defeating Cocaine Bear. Or honestly, the most interesting idea I thought of in this was give Cocaine Bear an arc. Like, act like a nature documentary of like they should have shown Cocaine Bear pre-cocaine. Like, they should have shown it like living a natural life, providing for his little bear cubs, and you're like, oh, I love this bear. And then show it descend into madness and then redeem itself. I don't know. I mean, it's like just like a simple, or even just like, you can make a non-human character have real character. Just look at any nature documentaries, or or the Benji movies. It's like, it can be done, and it would make it more interesting. You'd be like,
I just wish this is the only review show where you're gonna hear one of the reviewers say, I just wish Cocaine Bear was more like the Benji movies. Remember those? Yeah, that's why people come. No, that's it. It's a good point. I mean, it's it's just I guess the difference is you want a thing and this is not that thing, and I'm just accepting the thing for what it is. Like it's like it was just for what it was. It was very entertaining to me.
Right. Yeah.
And it scratched a lot of itches that I enjoy, you know. I mean, to a degree, the bear has an arc, you know. You see this bear do all these horrible things, and then towards the end, she's a mama bear. She's got kids, and they're doing cocaine too. Oh, no.
She's a bad mother.
No, I feel bad. It made me be like, oh no, her kids are hooked on cocaine, and
I know.
they're always gonna be
now
chasing this dragon.
Now those bear cubs are in foster care.
And now they're always gonna be chasing a dragon, you know, for the rest of their bear lives. They're gonna be like, I peaked too early, you know. I had a taste of that, yay, and now. Now what is life? You know, now I'm just sifting through a dumpster in a fucking national park.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, that's the thing. Like, you can either go
What if this is
the route of
What if this
adding,
is the arc of bears that end up in dumpsters in national parks? Like they just hit a rough patch where they found some cocaine or drugs or something like that, and then they find themselves, you know, hooked on people stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you really open yourself up to like a whole series. You know, like this could be a franchise. You could do Cocaine Bear, you could do Fentanyl Bear,
Fentanyl bear, Trank bear,
Trank Bear,
right?
just a bear with open lesions.
Oh, meth bear, crack bear. Bath salts bear. That one really rolls off the tongue. Hash bear.
So I mean, sure. I mean, you can look at me as nitpicky as saying like it doesn't have the thing that I want. But I mean, for me, like character development or like a character arc is kind of table stakes for any movie. But it's not that kind of movie.
I don't think it's nitpicky. I think it's just what you want, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's probably what my problem is. Like, if it doesn't do that, it has to go all in on the ridiculousness of the situation. And it does go in on it, just doesn't feel like all in. It's not like nonstop craziness. There's a couple set pieces that work. So there's the opening with the Norwegians is pretty good. Like that's probably gets you into it really well, which is like, oh, it's a black bear. For the rule for black bears is you fight against them, you know. And
if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down.
Yeah, and if it's coked up, you're fucked up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the Norwegians see it, and it's a pretty good way to introduce the cocaine bear, which is like, oh, that's acting kind of strange, and then all of a sudden it pops up right in front of you, like, oh shit.
Yeah. They did a good job of making the bear unnerving.
Right. Yeah.
Like there is bears and how they act, but they gave this one a little bit of facial expression, you know? It was like, you know, it was like, it did this. Where a bear will just be like a shark, you know, but.
Yeah, even if it's attacking you, it's like.
I'm gonna eat you now. You know, because that's just another day in the life of a bear. But when it furrows its brow, then you're like, oh, that's so much more upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, because in real life, a bear to a bear is nothing. Like, it could not give a shit about you. I don't know. What was your opinion about the CGI on the bear? Like, was it distracting? Was it good?
a little bit of both, you know. It's a little distracting. I guess it's like, you know, those first couple shots kind of like make you go, yeah, I'm in a movie called Cocaine Bear.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you're just like, oh yeah, no, what did I expect? Them to train a bear? No. Like the CGI is CGI, which is so strange that we're still saying that after all these years. Like, man, you look back at Jurassic Park and you're like, it's face meltingly convincing for being 1992. And then, you know, here we are, and it's still pretty good, but never peaked too early in 1992, you know? Like,
yeah, here's the thing about, like, Jurassic Park, what makes it so good, and, like, why it still stands up even today in terms of, like, that's super convincing. Like, you go back and, like, you know, CGI in the 90s, and you're like, it's bad. Like, it looks very bad most of the time. Most of the time, it's just god awful. Like, it has this weird sheen on it. It's not lit the same. It's like just obviously not enough polygons to make it look photorealistic on film. But Jurassic Park looks real, and it still looks real for the most part. And part of that is they just knew when to use CGI and when to use like puppets or stuff like that. And they definitely didn't. I mean, they basically wrote the movie that they wanted, and they didn't write it around the CGI bear. Like, a couple of things they could have done to make it a little more convincing was do more stuff at night. Like, if you show it at night or show less of it, it's more convincing. If you, I don't know, even if they use like puppets more, there must have been like some puppets, because like when it's laying on top of the guy, that must have been like a
I think that
puppet or something.
Was just about the only moment where I was pretty certain that it was a prop, a real life prop. Yeah, I will add a little bit to my review, which is each one of the situations I found enjoyable. Like, there was no point at which I was like, oh, come on. Each time I was kind of like, oh no, you know, like, oh, I don't like this, you know, or like, or I think they had a good script too. Like, it was good dialogue, and a lot of this movie is dialogue. So.
Yeah, there's a couple moments in here that was like, some great lines in here, like the guy. There's kind of like a standoff between a detective and a couple of the drug dealers. That ends up that like the cop shoots one of them, and he shoots his fingers off, but he shoots like this finger and this finger off.
It's the other two. It's these two.
And the guy's like, how do you shoot those fingers off? They're not even next to each other.
I'm still confused about that. Like, what? So the guy shot him. So the detective shot him, and he shot himself. How did he shoot two fingers off?
He shot his. Maybe it was just like, hey man, come
at
me, bro.
And it come through there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was an interesting choice, because it clearly understood its own integrity. Like, it was like, this can't really work, but it threw it in there anyway. I was like, all right.
Yeah, another line that I really liked that kind of like underlines the point that I was trying to make, which was, I think at the very end, Ray Liotta asks Kerry Russell's characters, like, "Who are you?" And she just goes, "A mom."
A mom, yeah.
It's like, exactly. It's like, yep, that's what this is. Is like, she's not actually a character. She's just a mom, you know. She's just there to fulfill the role of being a mom. And what were some other good lines? Oh, another one of my favorite moments is like, we'll get to it.
The kills, many of them were absolutely bonkers too. Like that ambulance chase.
Right. The
like-
ambulance, probably other than the
Ambulance.
amber lamps,
Ambulance.
probably other than the Norwegian opening, the amber lamps is the best set piece.
Oh,
of
it was fucking wild. It was so crazy. Like, each one of them met such a horrible fate. And I really, I mean, I genuinely did not like it. It was upsetting. Like, I was like, I don't want this in my head. Like, it was just like, yeah, each time Cocaine Bear got a hold of somebody, they met a horrible fate. It was horrible. It was like being killed by a bear. Ugh.
Yeah, the ambulance scene where they're like just running away, and somehow the Cocaine Bear has just super speed, and leaps into the back of the amber lamps,
Ambulance.
which is great. And Margot Martindale's character on the stretcher falls out and just becomes a meat crayon on the pavement.
Oh.
Which
By
I thought they were going to come back and she was going to be alive. Like, that would have been a great moment where they're like, they pass by the stretcher, which was, I'm just going to say that stretcher at the end was obviously empty. Like, did you look at that stretcher when they passed by?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
was like,
Margot
where'd she
Martindale
go?
is definitely underneath that.
Yeah, where'd she go?
But yeah, I thought that could have been a good moment of just like, help me.
Yeah.
Just like strapped into a stretcher.
Margot Martindale does not stop working. I mean, does not stop working.
No, she is a in-demand character actress because, like, she's in a ton of TV shows. Like, I think she was even in... Wasn't she in... No. I was thinking she was in The Last of Us in an episode, but that was someone else.
Dude, she was in Orphan, the first Orphan. Like, yeah, she's one of these gals who's just like, just fucking working. She gets up every day, has 2 or 3 cups of coffee, and gets out there and, you know, does a voice line for a cartoon show or is in a Hallmark movie or is on a show, sometimes a big show, sometimes a show you've never heard of. Dexter, you know, like she's out there doing it and making hay while the sun shines. Like, that girl is cranking.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, she's also has one of the best moments before the amber lamp scene. So she's been attacked, and she like made her way back to the ranger station, and finds the thugs in there, and then accidentally shoots one in the head trying to hit the Cocaine Bear, which was also a great moment. That was great.
She sticks with, like, all of the characters are like they have a tick, you know? Like, they're all the thing that they are, you know. It's like they've been, their direction is pretty good for the actors, because it's like, no, be who you are, be exactly who you are. And Margot is a character who closes her eyes while she shoots her gun. Like, that's her tick. Like, she's like, bang, you know. It's like close, pull, and and she sticks to that. Like.
And then so they get attacked again by Cocaine Bear, and then like the amber lamps shows up. I can't say ambulance now because I'm just thinking amber lamps. Somebody call amber lamps. Need amber lamps. So one of my favorite moments when the EMTs show up, like, she's, you know, on Margot Martindale's character is basically on the cusp of consciousness and is just mumbling, and they're like looking around and you know, discover that the Cocaine Bear was in a back room closed off, and then
In a dark back room doing cocaine.
yeah, and Margot Martindale's trying to warn them. She's like mumbling, and then she picks up the stethoscope and just goes, "Bear."
Bear. It was great.
which is great. Yeah. That's a great moment.
Yeah. And they're like, oh man. Yeah. So it's so unfortunate how they hopped on Pop. Like each part of this movie just reminds me of like, oh shit. Oh, like, so in real life, the bear just died.
Yeah, the bear did not survive eating a brick of cocaine.
You'd think, you'd think it'd be like, I mean, if Chris Farley can do a brick,
Right. I'm sure Chris Farley could have.
Out-cocained the cocaine bear?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because, I mean, with the early passing of Chris Farley, we'll never get to see Chris Farley versus Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, really, it could be like Chris Farley versus John Candy.
Yeah.
You could just take the bear out of it.
Man, this is an aside. Have you ever listened to the podcast Fly in the Wall? It's the one with Dana Carvey and David Spade.
No.
It's just basically they talk about behind the scenes SNL stuff and interview people that were on SNL or hosted SNL.
Oh man, they'd be great people for that.
Wow, this daylight savings is ruining my light. I need to block that window. It's going to be a problem.
Where are you going? You're fading away. The sound really pulled it together. No, I was thinking about it, and since just on another side note, like since the unplanned mentioning of a certain individual in the Scream episode that led us on a little trip around the world, I was kind of thinking, like we could go on a little, we could go on a little quest, each one of us kind of visiting places we've been in the past and may go in the future, It's like, oh, wow, another cat. Oh, geez. It just keeps on going, really. Dark, spooky woods. Oh, that's probably where the cocaine bear was.
Yeah, so that podcast, they just talk about behind-the-scenes stuff with SNL and interview people that were on SNL or hosted or behind the scenes. But they did like a 2-episode like tribute to Chris Farley around what would have been his birthday. And it was great. And it made you like sad and happy, lots of like really funny moments. But like the takeaway is like, man, I really wish I could see what Chris Farley would be doing now. Like what would he be capable of? And it's just, he would definitely be in this movie. Chris Farley would be in this type of movie.
Yes. I don't know. It could be a really interesting, I mean, kind of when somebody goes, you kind of remember them for what they were when they went. But,
right.
Like,
yeah, he wouldn't be doing the same shtick.
No,
now,
I don't know. I don't know if he'd be in Cocaine Bear, Like it's a very insane suggestion to speculate on where Chris Farley would be 20, 30 years after his death. Right. But I don't know. I would hope that he wouldn't be in Cocaine Bear. Does that make sense?
I think it could be a return to form. It'd be like Jim Carrey and his appearance in the Sonic movies. It's like, hey, look, it's Jim Carrey again. And not like, the number 23 Jim Carrey, but the real Jim Carrey. I don't know. Anyways, the two kids, I like the two kids. They were pretty good little actors. There's a scene where they eat the cocaine. I wish they did more with that. I wish they like went hard into the kids like becoming addicted to cocaine or just like becoming super powered and fighting against Cocaine Bear or something.
Yeah, what it didn't have in like satisfying character progression arcs, it had in moments. It had each moment was like, what? Like, I just didn't expect little kids to do coke in a movie. I just didn't. And And then they did, and really in a very, like, you know, you're sitting there thinking about your kid, and you're like, no, please don't. Like, don't. And then they do it the exact way the little kid would. And you're like, no, oh, no. And, you know, you're waiting for them to be rubbing their gums and stuff. And
yeah. Man, okay, I've just come up with a version of Cocaine Bear that would include Chris Farley. So Chris Farley, he's older and wiser, and his character is a former cocaine addict. And he's recovered, and, you know, all of his friends in the movie, like, talk about the glory days, and he's, like, separating himself from that. And he's the park ranger. He's Margot Martindale's, like, part. And he's trying to protect people, and people are just dying left and right. And in the end, in the third act, he realizes the only thing that can defeat Cocaine Bear is if he gets back on coke. And he just snorts like half a brick of cocaine and just goes mano-y-mano on the bear and defeats him.
But he overdoses. And, oh no, you're disappearing. We're losing Bryce. Oh no. He overdoses, and we tragically lose him the same way we lost poor Ray Liotta. Except Ray Liotta had a heart attack while shooting a movie in the Dominican Republic and died in his sleep at the young age of 67. Do you think... It seems weird that Ray Liotta's last movie is Cocaine Bear, but also kind of makes sense. Like,
right. It is kind of fitting.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, okay. I mean, I guess. It's a very wrestler kind of arc, you know? Mm-hmm. The wrestler.
Well, you break into films with basically a character that's high on cocaine. You end your career with a movie about a cocaine bear.
Right, as a cocaine dealer.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, so you say this movie doesn't have an arc, but doesn't it? Doesn't it?
The other scene, like the beginning scene with the skydiver, or like the cocaine guy, I just like the fact that he's wearing sunglasses while going skydiving, like at night. There's so many reasons why that's a bad idea. It's got what's his name, Isaiah Whitlock, which I know from The Wire. He's the She-It guy from The Wire. She-It.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Now, okay, yes. Yeah, he had, and see, I really liked his character a lot. Like, he's like all concerned with dogs, you know? He's like, oh, I got this dog, and it's just this wussy little dog, but I kind of love it, but it doesn't play fetch, you know? And he's like asking his coworker, he's like, do you got a dog? Border Collie. That's a cool dog.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Let's see if I can do this. Can I do this?
Shit, boy. Think I'm gonna be the scapegoat for the whole damn machine? Shit.
Clarence is gonna...
Shit, as far as the federal money's concerned, he's everything. The faucet, the goose.
A goose.
The one that lays them golden eggs. Major crimes. Shit.
Damn.
Yeah, another actor from The Wire just died.
The Curse of the Wire. Not only is it an unsatisfying show.
Lance Riddick died.
Who be that?
Lance Riddick is... You'd
that?
recognize him.
Who that dude be?
It's this guy.
Oh, yes. I saw that yesterday or the day before. Just very recently.
Yeah.
The Wire takes another. Too young.
So, yeah. Do you think Sci-Fi Channel is kicking themselves for not getting the rights to Cocaine Bear? Like, it seems like, or the Asylum Pictures, whichever one. makes all the Sharknado movies. They're like, God damn it, we could have had Cocaine Bear. Why didn't we think of that?
You know, it's so weird. I haven't had a subscription to any sort of cable service, anything with channels, you know, for at least a decade. At least. Probably more. No, about maybe 12 years or so. Like, it boggles my mind that there are still channels out there, you know? But, you know, until them boomers ditch, you know, until they're out of here, until some Cocaine Bear comes and grabs them, there will be channels, like, on TV. Isn't that fucking... Does that blow... Does it kind of weird you out, too, or...
I mean, I watch the Oscars on over-the-air broadcast.
See, and that's the other thing. I can't... There's no antenna service out here. None. None.
Yeah.
Zero. So, you can't even get it.
Yeah, but, I mean, you've got fiber internet, so...
Yeah.
There's ways to get...
That's true. Yeah, you can get YouTube. YouTube has channels, huh?
There's a couple different services where you can pay, basically, to get, like, the actual over-the-air channels. Or most of, like, if you were to get Peacock, I think even they have, like, the broadcast channel, I think. I don't know. Okay, what else is there to talk about? I mean, it's mostly what I had to talk about. Like, it's good. You know, it's good enough for what it is. It ends really suddenly. It just kind of goes until it ends. And that's part of, like, again, going back to the character arcs, it's like it's pretty arbitrary.
Yeah.
Where it ends and where it begins. Because
it's a day in the life of a cocaine bear. And everyone whose life he touches or ends. She.
Right. So yeah, did you have anything else to talk about?
I mean, just it is not as embarrassing of a movie to be associated with as I thought it was going to be. I'm glad Cocaine Bear exists to the degree that it does. I don't approve of the... I think that there is a chance in Cocaine Bear for some real good to be done, which is like, if you're going to have a movie the way this is set up, kind of, you could go kind of Zombieland with it, you know, and have rules. But instead of being useless zombie rules, it could be useful bear rules. And they did that a little bit at the start. But you know, like, so for example, like if you're being chased by a black bear, yeah, the rule is fight back, but also don't climb a tree. Black bears are as good at climbing trees as they are at walking toward you. Like, they're fucking experts. But if it's a brown bear, climb that fucking tree. That's all you got to do. Get up the tree. Get up the tree. The brown bear cannot get up a tree worth anything. They're large, lumberous tanks. You know, they're just, they don't climb trees. The babies will, but a full-grown brown bear will not be able to get you if you're up a tree. So, like, I just wish it had done more of that kind of thing where it's like, just take a moment and throw some fun tips up there, and you could have saved some lives, you know? And Carrie always does this with me. She'll be like, because Carrie's my wife, not Carrie Russell. My wife will be like, yeah, but what about a cougar? And I'm like, nothing to be scared of with a cougar, sweetie. Like, you just don't have anything to worry about statistically. Like, you just don't have anything. She's like, yeah, but
I don't know. Red Dead Redemption has taught me the complete opposite. Cougars are the most frightening thing in that game.
I mean, sure. If a cougar wants to kill you, but again, like the way she does it is she pits them against each other. So she's like, a bear or cougar kill you? I'm like, the cougar. She's like, why? I'm like, because it's 130 pounds and it doesn't want you to struggle, so it kills you right away. Like, it can't handle you flopping around. So it tries to kill you. It like bites into the back of your neck and it wants to kill you like that. A bear doesn't care if you're dead because it's at least 400 pounds, probably more like 1,000 pounds if it's trying to kill you. And so, and furthermore, like there's like a little more, I think there's like a few more than 100 cases of cougar attacks on people in the last 100 years. Like it's like one a year. Bears is like fucking thousands and thousands. It's just like, oh yeah. Bears,
well, this is educational. I did not know that.
Bears do not give a shit. They're horrifying creatures. They're truly nightmarish creatures that walk the earth.
That is a good question. Does a bear give a shit in the woods? No. Okay, so final recommendations. Who would like this? Pretty much anyone that reads the title Cocaine Bear and says, like, that sounds fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Don't expect any Oscar awards going to Cocaine Bear, but it's good fun.
Yeah.
So that's that. Let's get into our next bit, taglines. Ooh. Do I have taglines in here? I do.
Here's taglines.
Okay, taglines is a bit where we come up with alternate taglines for the movie that we're reviewing. I've got, I don't know, I've got 5, but probably really only 4. How many do you got?
Yeah, about, but I can match you.
Okay. Okay, Cocaine Bear. Just say no to cocaine bears.
There's mention of dare in this movie. Mm-hmm. You went to public school? You had dare. I didn't have dare. I went to a private, very prestigious private school. So, what was dare like? Can you recall?
I mean, I wasn't in it. It was like an after school.
Yeah,
like,
you watched
thing.
it, right?
Huh?
You watched it. It was like a presentation.
I don't even think it was a present. It was like a student activity. Like you could join the DARE program and be an advocate for saying no to drugs as a student, which is apparently did not work because all those people ended up being on drugs. But I think maybe there was an assembly. I don't know. It all kind of melds together, like all the stuff about.
Did it chase you?
Drugs.
Did it chase you throughout your school? Like your schooling,
so.
like was it just elementary?
I think it was mostly a middle school thing.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Cocaine Bear. Harvey Weinstein is Cocaine Bear.
I got along those lines. Cocaine Bear, not a biopic about Artie Lang.
Cocaine Bear. Bert Kreischer is Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear, or as it's known by its title in Colombia, Osa.
Oh, because that's what you in Spanish. No, wait, is Osa the name of a bear?
It's just a bear.
Bear,
you know.
Yeah.
Because in Colombia they would just call it a bear,
right? Because it's so much coke.
Right. All the bears are cocaine bears.
Cocaine Bear is John Goodman when he was big guy. but he's not anymore.
So you got an unlimited supply of these taglines, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, Cocaine Bear, move out of the way, Smokey. Here comes Snorty the Bear.
Snorty. Yeah, instead
Or
of
Cokie behind me. Hi, Cokie.
Hootie the Owl, it's Huffy the Owl. Mm-hmm. Huffy. Is that a Huffy? That's a nice bike, son.
We could have like a whole wildlife drugs universe.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What would the woodpecker be?
Trank. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a new drug, huh?
Yeah.
Trank. You heard about it too.
Now, what makes it? What drug would make you beat your head against the wall? I mean, that's kind of cocaine
Crack.
too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind
Crack.
of meth. Yeah.
Or no, that's like that's almost a bath salts thing.
Not that we'd know. Kevin James is Cocaine Bear. Remember Kevin James?
All right, my last one. Cocaine Bear. Is it good? Does a bear do lines in the woods?
Yeah, this bear did a lot of cocaine. I mean, a lot. He was always on the hunt for that next sweet line. Cocaine Bear is not dead John Candy.
And that's taglines. Woo!
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to share Horror Movie Talk with friends. Leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts and go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. You'll find links to all of our social media and get involved there. Leave us a comment on our social medias or call us at 682-253-4468 and you can leave us a voicemail. We love you. Yes, we'll see you on the flippity floppity.
We love you. Bye.
Good day, sir. Good day, sir. You lose. You get nothing. Is that me? Yes, it is.
I just took a stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face.
Horror!
Wow, that didn't sound good.